welcome to All Steelers Talk, your home for everything Pittsburgh Steelers, presented by allsteelers.com.
Hello, beautiful people. It is Thursday, October 28th, 2021. We still don't have a name for this. Bets Thursday? We're going Bets
Thursday. The good people of the internet has not helped us out at all whenever it comes to finding a new name.
No, like zero help whatsoever. We're out here trying to do this on our own. We have a million other things to do, people, including creating same-day four-leg parlays for you that are going to hit. Picking the Steelers games. We're on a hot streak right now, and nobody wants to come up with anything whatsoever. That's all right. This is All Steelers Talk. Like I said, it is Thursday, October 28th. I'm your host, Noah Strap. I'm joined every Tuesday and Thursday by Donnie Drew. Donnie, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm ready to lose some money this weekend.
I have to tell you, I have been on a hot streak. I'm thinking 3-4 weeks in a row now. I have hit all my same-day parlays. It's been pretty fantastic. I was actually at Lake Erie this past weekend celebrating my girlfriend's birthday, and the middle of a wine tour, I just screamed. And I was just everybody looked at me and I was like, the Rams won, let's go. My parlay hit. It was fantastic. A couple of bucks. Let's just say I bought a couple of glasses of wine for everybody.
Cheese and wine for all the good people.
Please, I was like, give me your finest crackers right now. It worked. It was beautiful. The Pittsburgh Steelers are dealing with a lot, though. We are inching closer and closer to the November 2nd trade deadline. And until today, it was a quiet time surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. As of today, NFL Network is reporting that Melvin Ingram, offseason signing, 1 year, $4 million, three-time Pro Bowler, is seeking a trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He wants out of Pittsburgh. Apparently, the Kansas City Chiefs called, and the Steelers were like, nope, not happening. We're not sending him anywhere in the AFC. Obviously, they know how good he is. He's played well this season, but just 26% of the snaps in his last game. What's going on here? Do you think that the Steelers will really trade Melvin Ingram?
Can I just say that this doesn't surprise me? It should, but it doesn't, because I guess we'll start from a player's perspective. He had to know he was going to start over Highsmith, right? He would have had to know he would have been that third rotational wheel behind Alex Highsmith. And granted, I feel like Highsmith has played pretty well this season. And obviously you have J.J. Watt on the other side of the football. So the opportunities for Melvin Ingram to get on the field, probably not as bountiful as it could have been in other areas. But this doesn't surprise me, because the Steelers organization, kind of known for telling free agents and even some of their older guys, hey, this is going to happen, and doesn't exactly pan out. The first thing that came to mind whenever I saw the Melvin Ingram report, James Harrison, back whenever TJ Watt was a rookie, they re-signed Harrison, and they told him he was going to have a bigger role than it was. Obviously, TJ Watt comes into the picture, starts kicking ass from day one, and then James Harrison's like, yo, I'm not playing anything close to what you guys were telling me to do. Release me right now. He gets released, he goes to the Patriots, and ends up playing in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, that was the very first thing that came to mind. So I'm not really surprised at all. It's still a lot of the same people in that building from back whenever it happened to James Harrison. I'm sure it's happened to other veterans as well.
Do you think that it's just a bit of a drop-off, just the last couple of weeks? I mean, at the beginning of the year, Melvin Ingram was playing pretty much consistent with everybody else, but TJ Watt is on an absolute tear this season, no surprise. And Alex Highsmith is starting to play well. They want him to finally click, and he played 100% of the snaps in week 6, but he did finally click. He had a sack, I think a sack and a half. Is it just a matter of, okay, well, look it, man, we just needed to take a break so that our guys here for the future can actually do something? Or do you think that this is just it moving forward? Do you think Melvin Ingram is now just a backup piece?
So I think for the meantime, he's going to be a backup piece. I'm looking at his snap logs right now. The first 3 weeks of the season, he played in no less than 64% of defensive snaps. During the last 3 weeks before the Steelers bye week, the highest he's played is 60. So, I mean, certainly a drop-off between the amount that he's played here in the last few weeks. But granted, you have to know you're not going to be a starter. Either the Steelers drastically lied to this man and was like, yo, we're not sure on Alex Highsmith. We want you to come in and compete right away. or this man assumed he was just going to be playing more and thought he could beat out a second-year Alex Highsmith, which clearly hasn't happened.
I agree with both of those things. I don't know what side happened, but I think one of them did. I think that it could also come down to the Steelers said, hey, we're going to involve all three of you guys. And the first couple of weeks that worked out. And then they were like, okay, well, look at Chris Wormley's playing real well. Why would we take him off the field to put you on there? I mean, teams are figuring this out. Robert Spillane's playing well and whatever that torch defense thing is. I don't know. I think it's a lot of I also think that it's him coming into the season with lower expectations for himself than he has right now. I think 4 or 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, he was just a guy who was like, okay, I have to regain my career. And in 6 weeks, they were just like, okay, this guy's a stud again. And now people want him. I don't know. He's 32 years old. What could you even get for a Melvin Ingram right now?
And see, that's what I'm thinking. I think maybe best case scenario, you try to recoup that 5th-round pick you lost in the Ahkello Witherspoon trade. Horrible trade, by the way. I mean, just absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at it, I mean, did you hear what Terrell Austin's had to say about it? It was just like, yeah, you can't get a helmet if you don't play special teams. It's like, yep, that is very true, very true. Ahkello Witherspoon wasted space. I mean, but shout out Jose Sanchez, who came on here the day after it happened and was just like, yeah, he is terrible. We're like, okay, cool. Good old Ahkello. Shout out to Jose. 5th-round pick could work. Arizona Cardinals have been named a potential landing spot. What do you know out there in the big AZ? What's the abbreviation there?
Sometimes it's AZ, sometimes it's ARI, sometimes it's ARZ. I think it depends on who is writing it. I think AZ is just the actual.
Okay, so not AR at all. I was totally wrong, but
if it's AR, it's going to be AR.
Does it make sense?
So, like, it does, but it really doesn't at the same time because the team had just lost J.J. Watt. I mean, just yesterday they announced he's going to have like 40 different things done to his shoulder. So that means he's going to be out for a while. And obviously, the Cardinals defense is going to want to try to pick up where they left off. They play tonight Thursday Night Football versus Green Bay Packers. We'll see how that turns out. I don't know because, like, I don't see Melvin Ingram as, like, a very, very solid every down hand in the dirt defensive end. Like I think he's much better operating as like a stand-up pass rusher. That's just me. The Cardinals already have 2 very good stand-up pass rushers in Chandler Jones and Marcus Golden. I don't think they really need another one. I don't see Steve Keim wasting draft capital and other salary cap stuff to bring Ingram in if they're not going to put him in J.J. Watt's place. And also the cap space is a little bit tight as well. They had to move some stuff around whenever they traded for Zach Ertz last week, excuse me. So they had to make some moves to even get within cap compliance. So I'm not even sure how that would look from a logistics standpoint. So I would say, honestly, I really wouldn't expect him to come to Arizona.
Okay, so Arizona scratch. That's what a Didi Kinkabala tossed out there. I mean, it does with the J.J. Watt news. Everybody immediately thinks they got to replace that. J.J. Watt's a huge loss. We were saying before the show that the dude's definitely coming back. Like, there's no way J.J. Watt doesn't play again this season. I don't care how many surgeries he has. It's J.J. Watt, and especially if they go to the playoffs.
Dude, if he comes back with, like, a bionic arm, I'm not going to be surprised at all.
No, he already wears that giant thing. He's just going to come out like a full cast. Nobody cares at all. It's J.J. Watt. He's fantastic. There's one more part of this Melvin Ingram thing that I wanted to talk about, and I don't want to compare Taco Charlton to Melvin Ingram. And I understand that's a little disrespectful because Taco Charlton isn't, at this point, he's not even like a hopeful guy. It's just like, yeah, he was a 2017, first-round pick. He's now 27 years old, but he is on the practice squad. He has NFL experience, starting experience. I wouldn't say he's been good. Is it something that the Steelers could consider? Like, hey, 26% of the snaps is not really a lot of snaps. Taco Charlton could probably fill in there, and it's not like, honestly, Melvin Ingram has 1 sack on the season. I get that he has a lot of pressures. I get that he can move around and he can play that third linebacker even with all 3 of them on the field, and that's why I don't want to compare him and Taco Charlton. But Taco could probably fill some role if he's gone. Am I wrong there?
I mean, no, he definitely fills some role. I think the concern is the depth. I mean, people really liked Melvin Ingram coming to Pittsburgh because of the depth that he provided. Whenever J.J. Watt was out, it's like, okay, well, good thing we signed Ingram, right? Mm-hmm. Good thing we already had that guy loaded. And like you obviously said, there's certain like sub packages you can roll him into. I don't think the Steelers are worried about losing Melvin Ingram. I don't think they're kind of like ripping up papers and trying to find, like different ways to fit the pieces of the puzzle together. I don't think that's happening. But I don't think they're keen on losing him either. It's just because depth, guys are going to get hurt, guys are going to get banged up. You want veteran, talented pass rushing guys like Melvin Ingram. You can never have enough of those guys, especially down the stretch of the season where you're trying to make the playoffs. And even if you do get into the postseason, you're going to need every ounce of help you can get. So I don't think Ingram moving off of the team would exactly be in their favor. But at the same time, if he's not happy here, you don't want a disgruntled player. You don't want somebody who doesn't want to be here. Like Mike Tomlin said either last year or the year before, we want volunteers, not hostages, right?
Oh, yes, that was the AB year, the Le'Veon Bell year. And it's true. But I don't see Melvin Ingram being the guy that's going to come out here and make a big fuss about anything. He has been limited in practice the last 2 days. I think that if he balls out this weekend, there's a possibility that somebody gives up something that you're just like, okay, yeah, we'll take that. Sounds good. The third round pick starts getting coughed up, maybe a fourth and something else. I just think that there's trade value in Melvin Ingram, maybe not great trade value. And if this guy's just nagging you, hey, please get rid of me. I only have 2 or 3 good years left. I'd like to go play a bigger role somewhere, maybe compete for an actual championship. Maybe he's not thinking the Steelers are the team this year. I don't know. There's a lot going on there. It is a story that popped up out of nowhere, a little surprising, but if Melvin Ingram gets moved, he gets moved, and we'll have to talk about that when it happens. What I also wanted to talk about, the Steelers have talked all week, and all week long, everyone continues to ask, is last year's playoff loss mean anything to you? Are you using it as motivation? Did you wish that things turned out better? I don't remember who it was, but somebody was asked, how big of a gut-wrenching moment was it to watch Marquise Pouncey and Ben sit on the bench after the game with their head down, and not one person, not one of them was like, yeah, no, definitely motivation. Outside of Eric Ebron. Besides Eric Ebron, everybody's like, no, I haven't really thought about it at all. Actually, I could care less that we lost in the playoffs at home last year in an absolutely embarrassing way to Cleveland Browns fans. That was Christmas. That was the resurrection of Christ. It was the most liberating moment in team history. To the Pittsburgh Steelers, it was like, yeah, whatever, man. We lost to the Cleveland Browns. We probably weren't going to win the Super Bowl anyways. Is it concerning? Are you just like, yeah, I don't care either?
I'm not buying it.
You're not buying. That was not what I was expecting you to say.
I'm not buying that they're not thinking about this game. It's human nature. I know it's in the back of their head. As a man who's played football, I promise you a loss like that would be circled on my calendar, just waiting to get back at those guys. I promise you, whatever they're telling you guys in the media room, whatever they're looking into cameras and telling fans across the world, it's a lie. I guarantee you, they're not going to say it publicly, but that's got to be something within the locker room.
Maybe it's. I haven't even thought about that. Maybe it is.
No, because it's taking the high road. It's taking the pressure off of the game. Hey, 1 week at a time. The whole nameless faces thing Tomlin likes to throw out. Hey, we're just focused on this week. Just so happens to be the Cleveland Browns and blah, 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 whatever. Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
Those characters on the team. A lot of them played in that playoff game last year. This means something. And the only reason they're not saying anything is because they don't want to stir the pot.
I was just going to say that. I don't think that they want another the Browns is the Browns moment. I just don't think that they want any of that. I think even Chase Claypool was just like, somebody asked him if Cleveland Browns fans are constantly in his DMs. And he's just like, yeah, all the fans are. And I'm like, no, man, I know Cleveland Browns fans are in your DMs because they're in my DMs. And I mean way less than you do. So even he was calm, cool, collected. It seems everybody else is, but I could see that. I could see them in the locker room just with Baker's face, or Myles Garrett's face, just on the wall. And then just everybody's just staring at it every single day. The Browns is the Browns. On the same hand, do you think that the Cleveland Browns are coming in here? That's got to be a little bit extra juice to say, this wasn't a fluke, man. You guys can say whatever you want. That was supposed to happen because we're back.
Well, here's the thing. If you come out and you're like, yeah, we're really looking to, avenge that playoff loss. I think we're ready, blah, blah, blah. okay, now you're just giving them juice, right? Because like as a
Yeah.
competitor, you already beat these guys once, and these guys are like, yeah, we're ready. It's like, oh, you really think you're ready? Like you think you can beat us again? Okay,
We'll
like
see.
we're playing at home. You're coming to the dog pound. All right, run it.
The
So
dog
it's
pound.
just it's just trying to like keep everything on a level playing field and just trying to like focus on X's and O's and trying to keep things simple. But yeah, I mean, it's an AFC North rivalry game. It's a very big game upcoming this week. These two teams obviously don't like each other. Their fan bases don't like each other. It's a big game, So obviously, I think they're just doing their best to play damage control. With, by the way, PR department's got to love that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, loves it. Loves it. If Melvin Ingram didn't make a trade request this week, or maybe not a trade request, but if he wasn't like, hey, I want to get out of here, please ship me somewhere else by November 2nd, it would be the most boring week of all time. Like Cam Hayward was like the thing I like the most about the Browns rivalry was that it's close. And I was just like, this is where we're at right now, huh? The bye week just killed us all. This is what we're doing. It's been a terrible week for the media. Outside of Tomlin, like losing his mind, which we talked about on Tuesday. And then that was it, though, because there was nothing after that. It was nothing. There was no repercussions of Mike Tomlin's words. It was, this is the greatest moment in coaching press conference history. It's over. It worked perfectly. It was exactly what he wanted. Outside of that terrible week, I do agree with you with all the motivation. Let me tell you this. I went to Cleveland last week, and I think I brought this up on Tuesday, but I hated how nice Cleveland Browns fans were. Hated them. But I did like the dog pound. I did like how they all had little like necklaces with dog bones on them. They were just handing them out everywhere. I did like, how everybody did the like everybody was chanting. I will say that they're like big screens. They're whatever the monitors, whatever the jumbotrons were constantly going. There was always a motivational video on there, like literally every second of the game. It was crazy. It was the same one on loop, but it worked. So and I don't know. It's a big game for both sides. I think it's going to be absolutely nuts there. I do agree. I think that you have to use this for motivation. I think that if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers or if you're the Cleveland Browns, you're looking at this going, wow, last year was exactly or not exactly how we expected it to go. Let's show them who's boss. Let's show them who really is still in the AFC North, because the loser of this one is going to be looked at as the new Cincinnati Bengals. That's rough. That's a rough place to be. That's terrible. Like, nobody's brought that up one time. Like, the loser of this game is the bottom of the AFC North and literally looked at as just a waste of space for the next couple of games until their next AFC North battle. It's not a good place to be. It's really not. Which will bring us to our still nameless, because no one wants to name it at all, Week 8 bets. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3.5-point dogs in the dog pound at First Energy Stadium on the lake. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. Ben Roethlisberger is looking. We still don't know who the Cleveland Browns quarterback is, and maybe that makes a huge difference. Maybe it does not. What are your thoughts on this game? What are your thoughts on this 3.5-point line?
Yeah, I think odds makers believe Baker Mayfield's going to play if that line is plus 3.5 for the Steelers. And granted, typically you'll see 3 points given to the home team, like historically, but I think like more modern, that's shot to maybe like 2.5 around there. So regardless, I still think it's expected to be a tight game. I think if it was confirmed that Case Keenum was playing, might be a little bit different. You might see Steelers +1, or maybe it's just like a pick'em game per se. I don't know, for whatever reason, I like the Steelers in this one.
Right?
I really don't. I don't think the Browns right now are a very good football team with Baker's shoulder or with Case Keenum playing at quarterback, especially with either Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt. Now, I get it. Dearness Johnson ran for 100 yards versus the Broncos defense. Steelers don't have the Broncos defense.
Exactly. And Nick Chubb is back. Granted, Nick Chubb will play, which is big.
Yeah, very big. But, I mean, there's still questions along the offensive line, still the myriad of other injuries the Browns have had to deal with. Granted, they have had a little bit of extra rest following that Thursday night game they played last week. But at the end of the day, everybody's banged up. Like I said, it's going to come down to talent. And I just think the Steelers are the more talented team at this moment in time. Right now, for this week, with all of the chess pieces that they have or, may not have. I like the Steelers. I at least like the Steelers plus 3.5.
I agree. I think for some, there's just this weird feeling like, look at the Denver Broncos were not good. They are a very bad football team. The Cleveland Browns almost lost. We talked about that on Tuesday. The Cleveland Browns almost lost. People seem to overlook that. The Steelers are on a 2-game winning streak. Take that as you will. It's still a 2-game winning streak. This is for the bottom of the AFC North. And I do not care if history is changing and the Cleveland Browns are coming back and Kevin Stefanski and it's a new dog pound, Baker Mayfield, blah, blah, blah. In moments like this, I'm putting Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers way above the Cleveland Browns every single time. I don't even think that's a biased choice. I think that's just what history has taught me time and time again. If Baker plays, I think that might worry me some, and I do expect him to play. But like Baker's got to be 100%. He's not going to be 100%, and there's no way
he's not going to be 100%.
No, there's no way that the Steelers don't get to him at least once, and that's not going to be fun. You could say whatever you want, but Keith Butler loves to shut down running backs, and there's nothing that will put a bigger smile on that man's face than shutting down Nick Chubb and Dearness Johnson after the biggest game that maybe made him a top 10 running back in a lot of people's eyes out of nowhere. 3.5 is an easy bet. I'm easily taking the 3.5. I think I'm also easily taking this next one. It's an over-under of 42.5. And I think I'm not an over guy, but in this one, I think that there's a chance.
Is it 42.5?
42.5.
I think that can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, right? It just feels like 22 points each that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy.
And even that, like, let's say the Steelers get to like 24 or the Browns get to 24. The other team really needs to get to 20 as well,
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter what quarterback's playing. I think that both of them can put up points for Cleveland. I think the only way the Steelers win this game is if they put up points, but I do expect Najee Harris to have a good game. I think Anthony McFarland is going to get involved some. I think that offensive line is finally starting to click. The Steelers went over the last 2 weeks. That's a good pick. I think that's a good line to draw from. I don't know if it'll go up if Baker's announced or not announced, but 42.5 is a good number.
Yeah, I like that. I would really like to see the numbers, or not even the numbers, just like who's playing on the Cleveland offensive side of the ball, because 20 points is a lot. Especially with the Steelers defense and with Case Keenum, that's a lot for them to go through.
The Steelers have not. All the Steelers wins come from holding them from less than 20 points.
Yeah,
that is a number. But do you think that they could get? I think that they could put up 24 to 28 points. I think that could happen.
I will say, coming off a bye week, if everybody's rolling like they should, they absolutely should be able to put up around 24
on the road. Yeah. This is not a game that the Steelers lose. There's a lot of games that you look at. The Seattle Seahawks is a prime example of that one. That you're looking at it and you're like, the Steelers should definitely lose this game. Like, if I know who the Pittsburgh Steelers are, and I do know who the Pittsburgh Steelers are, they're going to lose this game. They pulled that one out barely, and we all saw it. But it didn't worry anybody because they were supposed to lose that game. This game is a game where you look at it and you're like, this is one the Steelers win. And usually they win in defining fashion. So I think 42.5. I'm going to take the over. Are you taking the over or the under?
I'll take the over.
Taking the over.
Not
all right, hammered in 3.5. 42.5 over. Feeling good. We added a little bit to this one. We figured, the Steelers bets are fine, whatever, but nobody's putting a bunch of money on a 3.5 point, 42.5 team who's 3-3 fighting to be the not Cincinnati Bengals. So we said, hey, let's add a little bit of juice here. Let's add a little bit of extra spark here.
Yeah.
And we came through with a 4-leg parlay for you on the SI Sportsbook, our lovely sportsbook over at sportsillustrated.com, si.com. A 4-leg parlay for you this weekend to toss in there, hopefully win a couple of bucks. Hopefully take a couple of bucks away from the SI Sportsbook, which we would love to do. We got a strong Cincinnati Bengals team coming in here smoking the Baltimore Ravens in Week 7. It was not even close. I took the over on that I think it was like 49 points or something. And I was like, man, this worries me a little bit. Check the score is 41-17 or something. I was like, this is fantastic. Shout out Joey B, playing well. Zach Taylor coaching well. It's a good team. We got the Buffalo Bills smoking the Miami Dolphins money line. That's an easy one. That's Tua, Deshaun Watson. I don't care who it is. The Buffalo Bills, there's no way they're losing. No way. And the Miami Dolphins can't even beat the Atlanta Falcons. Not happening. The under of 44 on the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Seattle Seahawks. Still no Russell Wilson. It is a Trevor Lawrence, Geno Smith battle right now. I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that the Seahawks were talking to Cam Newton, but then they were like, no, we shouldn't bring him in because Russell's going to come back. That'll stir up some weird drama, maybe. Am I right there?
I mean, I feel like it would, but I haven't heard anything about them signing Cam Newton. I feel like Cam Newton wants to go to a team, start out for the rest of the year, but I don't think he's exactly in the best position to, at this moment in time.
Yeah, I don't know who you're going. I mean, if Tyler Hinkey is the guy for the Washington football team, there's not really many spots left.
Dude, I think he's really banking on somebody getting a long-term injury a little bit later in the year, and it's a team that probably could make the playoffs, and then he just kind of jumps on a ship and goes from there.
Maybe. Always a possibility. Teams have good backup quarterbacks these days. If Ben Roethlisberger went down, the Steelers are not going to sign Cam Newton, although we'd get 9 million stories about it. No doubt about that one. And to end this 4-leg same-day parlay, the Dallas Cowboys, -1 point favorites over the Minnesota Vikings. That leaves you with a solid plus 379 odds. We understand, you got to put a little bit of money down to make a little bit of money. But when the bets are this clean and when you're feeling this confident about it, there's not really a bunch that you can do to feel bad about it. Explain your thoughts on. I also have to say that Donnie came up with pretty much all this. So if it's wrong,
I'll take it. If it's wrong, blame me. Just looking at the odds right now, what is it? Plus 379. So a $50 bet will net you 190. If my math is anywhere close to being right. I feel like with those bigger parlays, perfect.
239. 239 on a $50 bet. That's a nice day. That is a nice day.
Very nice day. I feel like with the big parlays, a lot of people like to do. I try to keep them within 3 to 4 legs just to kind of minimize the risk, if that's even a thing with parlays.
Yeah.
So money line, I really like with the Bills and then the Bengals, obviously, especially with Zach Wilson not playing for the Jets this week. Fully expect the Bengals to just throttle those guys. Cowboys -1.
People are talking about how that's a trap game. It's not. The Jets are never a trap game.
Cowboys -1. I really like that a lot. I mean, obviously, it's basically them just winning by 1 point. But if for whatever reason a really strong Minnesota Vikings team shows up and they end up winning 21-20, that bet still pushes at worst. And then you already kind of talked about the under 44 for the Jaguars and the Seahawks. It's a Trevor Lawrence, Geno Smith game. That under could be 30, and I probably still would take that number. I'm just not confident in either of those offenses getting rolling at all. So,
I agree.
Nice little 4-leg parlay here. Nothing too crazy to start it out, and I guess we can kind of change and adjust as we go throughout the year.
Yeah. We start here, and in a couple of episodes after we get the little kinks out. But I do think that week 8 is a great week to start winning bets. I started winning bets in week 6. I felt fantastic about it. We're going through, and we're going to keep it rolling. I think this is a good little plus 379 parlay, 4 legs, easy money, in my opinion. Easy money. We'll see what happens. Before we head out of here, it was at one time the worst part of the show. Then it bounced back to the best part of the show. Now it's a fun part of the show. How we end every Thursday here. We're going to make our predictions for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns, 1 o'clock on Halloween, spooky season. Boo. What are you going for? It's Halloween. Are you going out? You doing some trick or treating?
No, I'm going as a dude who's got to write about football on Sundays. So
nice. Me too. I will be handing out candy though. So I love handing out candy. I won't lie to you. Steelers, 3.5 point dogs. Case Keenum or Baker Mayfield, likely going to be Baker Mayfield, at First Energy Stadium in the dog pound. Who do you got? What's your prediction?
I'll take the Steelers 20. I'll take them 24, 13. 13.
24-13. That doesn't hit the over.
So I'm going to be right either way. I'm hedging my bet.
All righty. 24-13 Steelers. I kind of feel the same way. Like I said, this just feels like that time of game. It feels like the type of game that the Steelers will win. Not that they should win, because they usually lose the games that they should win. It feels like one that they will win. This is not the new Cincinnati Bengals. I could see the Cleveland Browns being the new Cincinnati Bengals, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be upset about that one. I think the Steelers walk in here. I think they do win. I think they do cover the over for us. 28-17. That would give us our money. That would hit the bet. I think Ben has a game. I think Ben kind of just says, yo, look, guys, we're not dead yet. This season's still alive. Needed the bye week to heal a little bit, and I expect Najee to go off. 28-17, feeling real good about it. Real good about it. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. We're your favorite podcast hosts at Nostrack, at Donnie Droon. We will be back next week. Me and Derek Bell will be back tomorrow for Fridays with Derek the Kid. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, and we will see you tomorrow.